Not him being so truthful though. Flat broke.
Yeah.
She was like, yes, I am pregnant, yes, you know, whatever. But, you know, I actually am single now. So, you know, you can be with me. So I've just been about maybe 2 hours ago. I just, you know, got out of the movie theatre. As soon as I got home I made tea, so I couldn't really do this then, but I wrote down just a load of things about this movie, like weapons. This is going to be a complete spoiler thing because I'm basically going to be talking about like stuff that happened, or even just the layout, or like the editing, or you know, whatever. I'm going to be talking about a lot of things in this. Also, my cat is like sitting over here right now, so if she starts running about, she's just being crazy. But yeah, she keeps watching me, so she's creeping me out. But it's very dark right now, like it's quite late. It's almost 9 o'clock, so I'll probably have to, once I've done this, I'll be going to do the cats. But yeah, so it's been a big day for me today, but this was an amazing movie. Like I didn't even know, like I looked up after after I'd watched this, right? I didn't even know that they did this. It was supposed to come out in like January or something, like next year. It's supposed to come out like sometime next year or at the end of this year or something. But then because everybody that like watched it, you know, like in the practice screening or whatever it was, they like all made it like 100%, right? It was like an 100% rating. So everybody loved it who watched it in there. It's like they got it to come out early, you know what I mean? They got it to come out now, which is insane to me because I don't think I've ever had that happening before. At least none of the movies I've watched like have done that, you know what I mean? Like at least from what I know of, you know, I didn't know until I'd finished watching this movie that actually happened though. So that's pretty cool, you know what I mean? Like the fact that they weren't gonna release it now, it was gonna be released before, after, you know, in the long run. It was gonna be released next year or something. So that's kind of crazy, first of all. So let's get that out of the way. That was insane. The entire movie, like when you watch the trailers, right, both trailers, you don't actually know what's going to happen, right? Like even though we see all these different things, right, we don't actually ever connect any dots to anything, because like from reality we don't see the aunt, like the lady, you know, the orange haired lady. Well, that's a wig, but I mean you could tell that was a wig anyway, but like I didn't realize that she was actually, you know, gonna be I don't know if in real life she has hair, but for real, like that lady, I did not recognize her the whole time. Like the entire time I was watching that movie, I didn't realize I knew who she was, you know what I mean? Because she looks so different, like I could not recognize her at all, so I didn't realize it was her. But anyway, we'll get back to her at some other point. But I was just so, like, she wasn't in the trailers, so we never really saw her. Like we saw this clip of the kids like jumping out of the windows, right, and we saw her kind of like run away, but we never saw her specifically. She like was already kind of off screen. It was just kind of like her leg and maybe part of her body that we see running off the screen, so we never actually saw her specifically. I think they may have at some point done like a mini clip of just her, like maybe not even 1 second clip, but like I don't think I ever remember seeing her, you know what I mean? And also she was the one that said, are you watching? Like that kept happening in the trailer, right? I originally thought when I watched the trailers that she was going to be saying that like a load of different times, or it was going to be like what happened in the 28 Years Later movie, you know, where in the trailer it was like that lady talking and it was like an old message or something. I forgot where it was from, but it was like a maybe a wartime thing. But that was very interesting to me that like this wasn't like that. Like that's what I originally thought it was going to be, like it was a message from like some other movie from before, or like some of the like real texting, real like message thing, but it was actually just from the movie. Like that's pretty cool. Like that's pretty cool. I didn't realize that was going to be a thing. So far I'm not even reading off this because I'm just like talking about stuff that I remembered, you know what I mean? But obviously what I've written down is like the characters and stuff, so I'm just giving the general thing that I'm thinking of right now. But So should we get into, I'm not sure if we should get into the characters first or the actual the actual movie in general, but like when you look at the trailers, right, you don't expect it to essentially be like grouped into stories. So essentially we see different characters' point of views, right? And I love the way they give us the point of views, because you wouldn't expect it to happen at the times they give you them. Because you know, when it changed, like when her name first came up, you know, when it said what was her name? Her name is, what was her name? Justine. Yeah, Justine. So she was Justine, she was Mrs. Gandy, she was Justine. When her name first showed up, obviously I don't think at that point did we know her name at that point? I think we kind of did, but kind of didn't. I feel like we probably didn't actually. It was hard to tell. But obviously we knew Mrs. Gandy, so we didn't know her name was Justine. So yeah, anyway. But they changed, they obviously, like when it went to the next person, when it went to, what was his name? It went to Josh Brolin next. Archer Graff. So it would have said Archer. So when it went to him, that was when I was realizing they were going to do it, like how many characters were we going to see like change into, you know what I mean? And I love that even when it changed, like I don't know how they filmed it, but like everything looked exactly the same, you know what I mean? Like even when they changed the actual camera angle that they were at, everything looked exactly the same. So like when that guy was like crawling under the truck, you know, after the lady, after he like tried to strangle her and everything, and then Josh Brolin like attacked him and like, you know, but he obviously got hit in the face. When that happened, I was like, oh my god, because like the first time you see it, right, it's obviously different angles. Like we're seeing her point of view essentially in that moment. We're seeing him running up, and that's what she's seeing, you know, with his arms out. Like, oh my god, the arms thing is so creepy, but it was such a good touch. But like when we see that scene from his point of view, then after that, you know, it was so interesting because it's exactly what happened, but it was just like, I don't know how, like, because some things, like some like movies, right, or some shows, they do like different angles of stuff and stuff, but it still doesn't match up sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes it doesn't perfectly match up. Sometimes it changes, like the person can still be stood the same way, but it can look still different. But the way that, even when, I don't know how they filmed it so well. I'm assuming what they did was, like, what it looks like, right? What it looks like they did, which it probably isn't even true, but it looks like they had like a camera over here and a camera over there and maybe even one over there, but then they would never have been able to do that because like you would just have the camera in the shot if they did that, right? So it's just so, oh my god, just the way they did it is just, it was just so amazing. Like, oh my god, I didn't even look up who actually like helped with this, but like the director essentially, but like, or like the camera people, like I didn't look anything like that up, but they were amazing, whoever like actually helped. Like I know that Josh Brolin helped with this, but I don't know if he was like a writer or a producer or you know what he did, but I think it said like he was maybe an executive producer. I'm not really sure, from the cinema anyway, you know, when I looked at the credits and stuff at the cinema, but obviously everything goes by quickly, so you can't really see everything. But yeah, I think he was an executive producer, but I don't really remember. So if you could comment, that would be good. But yeah, but oh my god, the movie was so freaking good. Like I was going insane for real. I was really going insane. Anyway, because at first I thought we were just gonna like follow along her storyline, you know what I mean? Like I thought it was just gonna be like we were just gonna go along with her, and then we were gonna see maybe from like each point of, not from each point of view, but I thought we were just gonna see her and him, you know, because that's what it kind of set up. Like we never saw anyone else really in the trailer. Like we do see random scenes, but we don't see like specifically, like it looks like those two are going to be the main people, right? Julia and yeah, but because like even though I knew that Austin Abrams was in this, like we didn't see him really at all in the trailers. Like I think two of the scenes we saw in the first trailer were just him running, and then one of the other scenes we see is just him looking into the forest, and he's looking at the lady in the orange hair, you know. that's just so interesting to me. Like I couldn't even tell if she was actually there or not, or if she was just like playing a joke essentially, because obviously I think that was after he'd run out of the house. So in the order of like things, it's hard to tell when that would have been. Like in my mind, it's hard to tell like how she would have gotten there, you know? I don't know. But anyway, bruh, the lighting's terrible in here. Let's just go into the characters then, I guess. So my absolute favorite character was James. Now I don't really know, like I already knew him. Like, there's so many people in this that I already know, like, as actors, actresses, you know what I mean? But like, he was obviously in The Walking Dead. He was in, oh my god, what was that other movie? It was like I think it was a Netflix movie, but it was like Dick and Lily or something, or something like, I don't remember, you know what I mean? But it was like a kind of rom-com thing. But obviously, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was in that. And then, you know, I often just randomly see him sometimes, like just in random things. But yeah, it's kind of cool. Like I obviously, I don't think many people actually liked him in The Walking Dead, because he kind of starts off like, I think he kind of starts off like you might like him because we like his mom. But then he tries to kill, who does he try to kill? I think he tries to kill Rick, and then obviously he shoots Carl in the eye when, who was it? I think it was it Michonne or was it Daryl? Somebody like killed him though. I think, I can't really think about who died first. Obviously they, oh my god, I don't even know. I think he died last. I think the mum and the son, like I think the youngest son died first, and then I think it was the mum, and then it was him. Yeah. So he died last out of the family. But anyway, that's not even the point. The point is, yeah, James was definitely my favorite. Like, he was so funny. Like, it just random parts of it, he was just kind of like comedy. Even though it was so serious, a lot of the things that he just did, like when he called his, I'm assuming brother or sister, I don't really know. It was hard to tell. I couldn't really work out which, like, I couldn't really work out, you know, I don't think he ever said, you know, bro or like sis or anything, so I don't really know. But like he was just calling essentially to like ask for money for a job. Like, I definitely think he just wanted money to get more drugs, because I think when we first see him, right, he's like ran out, so he was looking for anything. And then it was just funny, like when he was on the phone and then he was just trying to open all these car doors, and then one of them was open. Why would you have a car open? That makes no sense to me. Yeah, it was just really funny, like the way he just kept going to like each door, and then he finally opened one and he just dove straight in, like, you know what I mean? Like he got straight in the back, like he just dove in. It was like he was just like, oh my god, it's so insane. It's like somebody who hasn't eaten in ages and just needs food. That's like the vibe he was giving, right? Because the way he just went in, oh, it was just so funny to me. I don't know how he just did that, but like it was so funny. Like even the scene when he was already like, you know, dead essentially. I think he was I mean, I don't really know if him and Paul could have come back, but obviously they got shot in the head, so they couldn't have come back after that. But I think maybe they could have come back. I don't know, it's hard to tell really, isn't it? Because like most of the kids, even though they were, you know, none of them died, but it really looked like the end of the movie, that like, you know, when he was carrying his son away, what was his name, Archie, the kid just didn't look there, you know what I mean? The narrator, like girl, she was saying how they, you know, some of them started talking again, but I feel like it probably wouldn't be that good, you know what I mean? Of course all these parents would be happy to have their children's back, but like it just, I don't know, like all these children would just be so traumatized by the fact that they pretty much tore apart that woman, as well as the fact that like everything else happened to them. Like I would honestly hope that they don't remember anything, because if they did, oof, poor them, you know, they would be traumatized. The most of them will probably be dying anyway, because they'd probably kill themselves, can't lie. But anyway, ignoring all that, But he was so funny. Austin Abrams, like, as James, oh god. My mum's she's watched like The Walking Dead, and she's seen, you know, she hated his character in that, but she also remembers him. Like, when I said his name was, you know, Austin Abrams, she remembered who he was before I even said he was in The Walking Dead. So I was really happy. Like, she didn't look at him, she just knew his name because she'd obviously looked it up before, because she probably recognized him because she watched the movie that I said about that had him in it, and then she recognized him because obviously he was in The Walking Dead, so she knew his name. Anyway, so, but he oh my god, he was so funny. Yeah, when the scene I was trying to talk about anyway, when he was basically dead, you know, when he was like, you know, turned essentially, you know, after he was like dragged from the car, every time like Josh Brolin, am I right? Brolin, yeah, bruh. Like, every time he like punched him and every time he got on the floor, like, he just kept getting back up. Like, I swear that guy could not die. Like, he was never gonna die, you know what I mean? Like, he was just always trying to attack. Like, I don't really know what he was gonna do. I don't know if they were trying to actually eat. It seemed like they may have been trying to eat them, right? I couldn't really tell, really, but it looked like they were trying to bite. You know, like, the way that they were trying to fight, it was like their heads were going first before they were trying to, like, do anything else. But then again, when Paul was trying to kill her, I think she was being strangled, so it's hard to tell, really. But, I don't know. But she did say about eating, right? And that's why the kids were eating her, right? I'm pretty sure by the end of it, she wasn't even there anymore. I think they ate her bones and everything, which is kind of crazy. But I'm kind of happy she's dead, because, you know, nothing else can happen now. But yeah, he was definitely my favorite character. Like, just everything about him, like every single scene that he was in, and the fact that, like, when it was Paul's turn, right, and he saw that he was there and he shouted, you know, at him, shouted at James, when he saw that he was going to the police station, and it was actually like, I'm pretty sure everybody would have been thinking, James, why are you back here? You know, like, in our minds, you know, we would have probably all been thinking like, oh my god, he is here. And then when we found out that it was actually because he found the house, you know, he found out where the kids were, and he was actually just trying to get the money. Like, that's his whole goal. It was just to get the money so that he could get more drugs, which, you know, at least he had an objective, I guess. But, you know, he didn't really care about the kids. He just wanted the money. But, you know, it would have been good if they could have actually found the kids then, but obviously he had to die anyway. But yeah, that was kind of crazy. I am kind of no, let's just ignore that. Anyway, I love that we went to each character. Yeah, the concept was amazing. Yeah, that's the next thing I wrote. So yeah, I actually loved the way they did it, because originally I actually thought, you know, after the Josh Brolin one, I actually thought they were gonna go to Wong, you know, to his like character, to is he a principal? I think he was the principal, right? But they didn't go to him next. They went to, so his name was Andrew in this, and Benedict Wong, yeah. They didn't go to him next. I assumed they would have done, but they didn't, which was very interesting. I really thought that was the next one they were going to go for, because of the fact that we saw him like running with the bloody face, and obviously he was going to kill her, going to kill Mrs. Galley, right? Gandhi, not Khan. Anyway, but that didn't happen, obviously, so that was crazy. The next character I'm going to be talking about is Alex Lilly. So he was the kid. Kerry Christopher. Now he was a great kid actor. Like, both the kid actors, obviously there were loads of kid actors, but the only like two true ones that kind of spoke, the bully, who I didn't realize that the bully kid was his son, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't actually realize until the very end, you know, when he picked him up, I didn't realize that was the son, which I feel like made me stupid. But when I saw him in the picture, and when I saw like the kid that ran out of the house, I was like, his hair looks kind of curly, you know what I mean? It looked really short, whereas that bully guy's hair was like really like brown and like long. Like, it didn't look like it was curly at all. So I was kind of confused, you know, but maybe I just missed the fact that maybe that kid that had like the hair like that, maybe that wasn't maybe the curly haired one wasn't actually his son. Maybe that was just somebody else and I just completely missed it, you know what I mean? Maybe I did. I don't know. But I guess I did because, you know, that's not what ended up happening. But yeah. But he was a great actor, bro. I could feel when he was scared, you know what I mean? Like I could feel when he was sad about his parents and when he was asking like his dad. I find it really interesting actually because the only one he really, like, obviously he worried about his mom as well, but the only one he really went to when things were happening was the dad, which was very interesting. Like when they were both stabbing themselves, you know, he went straight directly to the dad. So I assume that he has more of a connection essentially to the dad, which is very interesting. Like a daddy's boy, right? Because it's usually mummy's boy when you're a boy a lot of the time. But I like that they did that actually. It was very interesting. And then like the way that they went into his like whole thing, you know, like in the trailer, the girl when she's talking, they cut off loads of bits obviously from the way she was talking because like I didn't know that he was actually going to still be there, you know what I mean? Like he was the only one that didn't get caught because he is the reason that all the kids were gone technically, you know, because he didn't actually know that she was going to be taking their whole selves with like into the house or anything. He didn't realize that they were going to be like essentially in the basement locked up. But like, you know, I mean, I guess, you know, he just did what he thought he should do so that he would be okay and so that his parents could come back probably, right? He was just thinking, I want to get this lady out of here so that I can be okay. But obviously that didn't end up happening. I do love I could feel the sadness. Yeah, his mum and dad were great as well. Whitmer Thomas, which is Alex's dad. Oh yeah, the scenes where she essentially told the police, right, that the dad was like, he had like either a seizure or a heart attack. I can't remember what it was directly that she said he had. But, you know, she essentially just said, you know, he can't like speak, he can't do anything, you know, he can only just be here because they needed somebody to be there, you know, they needed somebody to like be essentially, they needed one of the parents, right? And they chose him, I guess. I wonder why they chose him, but he was really good. Like both of the parents were really good at playing that role of like not being able to do anything. They kind of just sat there, you know, but they kind of still looked a bit scared, but at the same time they didn't really look like they had any emotions too. It was very interesting the way they played it. But yeah, she was really smart on the way she because we'd already seen as well, you know, the first time we actually see her with her orange hair and stuff, when she came in the room to talk to, I think, the principal, right? We see him say that he's only met the dad, and that's interesting because like, wouldn't you have met these parents like at some other point in time, you know, unless this kid is like new to the school, right? You would have seen these parents before, like at some point, like maybe when he actually came to the school originally, you know. So it's very interesting that they say that he said that, unless he is like a guidance counselor or something. I couldn't really tell if he was principal or not. I think he was though. But anyway, what's the other thing? I think she was really smart about saying that though, because he didn't move, he didn't speak, he didn't do anything, you know. But the way that, you know, we saw it was very interesting. Callie Shutera, which is the mom, she was a really good like mom, and the way we saw her stabbing her own face with the fork in the trailer, I don't think we saw him do it, I don't think we saw the dad do it, but we definitely saw her do it. And there's also another scene in the trailer that we didn't really see fully, which was the fire scene. I think a lot of people assumed that somebody was getting put on fire, right? But it was actually just the lady like throwing the thing into the like pot thing, into the pan thing, and then the fire just came up really loud, really like long, and then it went down again, you know what I mean? And then it was just quiet all over again. So it was when she was originally, I think, sorting out the kids to come to the house, right? Like, it was originally when she was doing that spell on them, you know, to get them there, which was crazy. But yeah, the way they stabbed themselves was insane. The way they were saved but not really was terrifying, to be honest. I was assuming, I was talking to my mum in the cinema actually about it, but I was assuming they were too long gone, because they'd been so, even though they'd been eating the soup and stuff, you know, that he'd been feeding all of these people, which honestly, Alex will definitely need therapy as well, because he's the only one that remembers everything for real, you know, like for real. Like, obviously Josh Brolin and Mrs. Thingy, they'll all know everything too. Gandhi, they'll all know everything too, but like, he's a child, like he should not have been there to be having to deal with all this, for real. Like, this lady was just crazy, for real. This lady was just, oof, wow. But yeah, I think it makes way more sense that he got like placed somewhere else, but because I would want to get out of that town as well. But it's also like, the girl was saying, I think she said something like that he didn't have to feed them soup anymore, somebody else was doing that now. And I don't know if that meant like they were in like some kind of ward now for like people that was like ill, sick, whatever, or if they were just dead, you know, at that point, because it's hard to tell. But the kids were definitely all alive, but just some of them didn't talk still, and some of them probably could barely move still. I don't know, it's hard to tell. But the kid at the end, like, he could not do anything, you know, so that was kind of crazy. Yeah, they'd be scarred for life though after seeing everything that they saw. But yeah, he was a good actor, that kid. Justine Gandhi, Julia Garner, she was amazing. Like, every single scene she had as well, like some of the scenes where she was crying, like I think she only slept with that guy, right? It was hard to tell, but I think she only slept with him so that she could get something out of it. I think she wanted him to tell her about the case because of what she said to him, but like at the same time it seemed like she actually did like him, so it was hard to tell really. But like, I think she actually did like him, but she also just wanted the information, but he'd had nothing, you know. He didn't really have any information, so I don't know. But yeah, Archer Graf, Josh Brolin, obviously he had like a huge part in this, and honestly, like, he did a great job, like, with his role and with whatever else he helped with. Like, this movie is perfect, for real. Like, this is a movie I could watch so many different times and probably see more each time I watch it, you know, because like, now that I know like essentially what happens in each thing, I'll be able to pick up on different things, you know, from what we see. And it was just, yeah, he played such a good like role. Like, I love the fact that when I was, you know, when we were seeing like Alex, seeing like her sleeping in the bed as well, you know, when he was like peeking into the room that she was staying in and she had like no wig on and everything, and the moment when like Josh Brolin's character like was what was his name, Archer, like when he was looking at when he was like in that dream thing, and then at the very end when he was trying to say I love you, like when she just showed up, you know what I mean, in his like dream essentially, when she was just like there, and that was kind of creepy obviously, but like I think she was kind of sleeping the same way as she was in that time, you know, the same way as like when Alex first saw her, you know. It was kind of interesting the way they filmed that actually. Oh yeah, I love the fact that he just helped Justine, like as soon as like Andrew came in trying to like kill her, like he didn't even think at all about it. He was just like, I'm gonna get this guy off of her, you know what I mean? Like, even though he thought she was lying and maybe thought that like something had happened to his child from her hands, right, he was still gonna try and save her, because I mean, I think he's not a good, he's not a bad person, obviously, and he didn't want her to die, but I also think that maybe part of it was also because, like, he needed to know where his child is, and maybe she's the only one that knew. But obviously they end up teaming up because, you know, I think he ends up thinking, like, because of what that happened to Andrew, right? Like, they literally saw him running the same way. Like, I was thinking at first that he didn't actually see the way he ran, but he did see the way he ran, because he is the one that, like, whacked into him in the actual shop, right? Like, in the actual store. Like, he hit into him into the, like, glass area, and then he just kept getting up. Like, every time any of these people that are, like, no longer, like, really people were, like, every time they were hurt or anything, it didn't even matter until they were, like, shot in the head. They were not gonna stop, you know what I mean? And the fact that the way he died, like, Andrew, the way he killed his, like, husband / boyfriend as well, like, that was insane. Like, the fact that he just kept, you know, whacking him in the head. Oh, that was scary, y'all. We barely got that guy for, like, 10 seconds and he was already dead. Like, that was insane. But also, like, the fact that he, like Wong looked actually terrified, you know, when he was doing that, because I feel like his feelings would have been even greater than the fact that, like, when he was, you know, when he was going to kill, like, her, the teacher, because he cared obviously more about his boyfriend / husband than her, because obviously, like, they loved each other, you know. So I found that really interesting, the way you could kind of see that he was terrified and he didn't want to do that, but he had no choice. Like, he was just doing it. And I do find it interesting that we didn't see what happened with Paul when he went into the house, and what happened to, you know, the James when he went into the house, because obviously we'd already seen it. We'd already seen what she would have done with him, right? With Wong, because we already saw that she did all that, you know, with the water and everything, and just all that jazz. I found that really interesting. I found it really interesting the way they did that. And also just the idea of the fact that, like, when you put the thing into the water, that it was going to stop it, you know, because she put it into the water and that's when the parents stopped attacking themselves with the forks. So that was very interesting. I really liked that aspect. Andrew Benedict Wong, yeah, scary death. That's all I wrote for him, but obviously I talked more about that. Terry Clayton Farnes, partner. Yeah, they had a nice scene until he died. Like, the scene of, like, them, like, I think he just walked in with the, like, load of food, right? He was the one that was having the hot dogs, and they just, you know, they were having the hot dogs, and then that's when the lady came and just barged in. Well, she didn't barge in. Originally, my mum actually whispered to me she thought she had to be invited in, you know, because every single time she was at a house, somebody said come into her, right? So I was originally thinking she had to be invited into houses, and not like a vampire, but, like, kind of, I guess, like a vampire. Oh my god, it's so dark. Anyway, let's just start doing it like this, maybe. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, their deaths were terrifying. I can't lie. Like, I think there were quite a few deaths in this, but I did think that the children were going to die. I didn't think they were going to end up actually being able to come back, you know, because, I don't know, it just felt like they wouldn't have been able to. Like, I don't know. But then again, nothing actually happened to them. They were just kind of like, because they weren't actually starved, right? Because they would have just been standing downstairs. So they would probably be exhausted in reality, but they wouldn't have been, like, I don't know, they wouldn't have been, like, malnourished maybe because of the soup. But it's also hard to decide whether he should have, I don't know if he only gave them soup, which probably isn't a good thing, but obviously they'd need to go to the loo, so I don't know. But yeah, there's so many different things to think about with that. But anyway, let's get on with this. Yeah, Sir Paul Morgan, Sir Alden I don't know how you say his name, but whatever his real name is, he seemed to hate everything in this. Like, every chat, every time we saw him, like, he seemed to be hating his life, hating his job, hating everything that was going on in his life, you know what I mean? Like, when he was talking to his wife, he just seemed to just not enjoy that conversation at all. Like, obviously he didn't really want to have to, I assume, sit with like her parents for like the anniversary stuff. I think also the dad being like essentially his boss, right, because he was like the police captain guy, that's kind of crazy, you know. I don't know, like, I would not want to be dating, I mean, it depends what happened, right? If they met whilst he was like a police officer, then that's crazy. But if they met before that and then they got married, and like that's when maybe he wanted to be a police officer, I don't know. But like, it's kind of crazy, you know. I would not want to be dating my boss's like person, like daughter or son, you know. That would be crazy. But yeah, he seemed to hate everything. He was just not happy at all in this entire movie. I feel like he hated just being alive. He was a really good actor, but like, I feel like he's probably the worst character, like, other than obviously her, because she was like trying to kill everyone essentially. I think she was like getting stronger because her hair was growing back by the end, but obviously she got killed, but you know, that's her own fault. But she was kind of, I mean, he just seemed like he was just like, I felt everything he was feeling, you know, when he was like angry, or when he was like just hating life, you know, every single time he was just feeling anything, I could feel it, you know. I could feel it in his face and his voice, and it was just so interesting seeing him like that. And also, I did not realize that he was married, you know, like, until they actually tell you that, like, because I saw like the lady following, you know, Mrs. Gandhi, like I was watching her as well as she was like following her, and I didn't realize she was gonna like try and attack, because I originally thought she was gonna be one of the mums, you know, trying to talk to her. But then obviously it was his wife. But he did say that, you know, he isn't with her, so he did lie to her. You know, but I guess maybe he's cheated on her before with her. I don't really know. It's hard to tell. But yeah, when we actually saw the scene of the wife confronting him after he came home drunk and, you know, hungover and everything, he was just, you know, he was just gone. He could not lie for shit, bruh. Like, she figured it out straight away, essentially. It was so crazy. But yeah, the fact that they have the exact same last name, they're obviously married. Like, it's kind of insane that he actually said that he isn't with her right now. That's kind of insane. But yeah, but she was really, like, everything we had of her as well, like, she seemed like a really overbearing person. Like, she seemed like she just, what was her name? Donna Morgan, yeah. June Diane Raphael. She was kind of scarily intense, but like, the phone call wasn't too bad, you know. It's just like when she was there in real life, like in the scene, she seemed like okay at first, and then like in random other bits, I feel like she's probably a good-ish, okay-ish wife. I don't know, it was hard to tell really. We barely got any of her, but like, she seemed like the wife that I would hate to be, you know. I don't think she would be, I don't know. But anyway, obviously there's no like excuse, like, he should not have cheated on her for sure. But that is crazy. That is really crazy. And then Gladys is her name, right? Amy Madigan. Is that what I wrote? Madigan? I don't know if I've written S or G. Sometimes my writing's so terrible. I didn't realize I knew her until I looked her up after. That was kind of crazy. But yeah, she looks so different with like the hair and the makeup and everything, just in general. I don't really know what she's from actually, but she was great though. Like, as soon as she came in, I was like, oh, this is interesting. You know, because I think she was in Alex's storyline, right? I think, yeah, she would have been. So it was like everything was involving her and everything was involving the house, which, very interesting. Like, obviously we knew everything was involving the house after James's one, but it's even more interesting that, like, we just, like, the way that they did it, it was just so interesting. I don't know, I was just like it was just such a mess, everything that happened to everyone essentially in this. Yeah, Ed, the cop slash captain, I think he was a captain, right? Toby Huss. Now, I recognised him, but I had no idea what I recognised him from. But the only thing I could find that I recognised from like looking up all the things he's been in loads of things, but the only thing I could find that I've definitely watched was Furry Vengeance. So I'm thinking I recognised him from that, but I could be wrong. I'm not really sure because I don't really know. Obviously I know Furry Vengeance, like I remember the movie kind of, but I don't really remember what he played in that, so I don't really I'm assuming it probably is right though. It's just hard to tell. But yeah, he was a really good actor. Like when he was talking to someone, like, and then he looked through the window essentially at Paul, you know, after the fight with his wife and after the fight where, like, I'm assuming she will have told the dad the truth, right? She will have already told him that, you know, he cheated on me, right? So the way they looked at each other was so messy, right? Because like he was looking at him like so serious, like with kind of a bit of hatred, but also a bit of like, you know, I don't know, like it was probably more hatred than anything else, but it was very interesting, like very serious look. Like he already knew about, you know, the cheating, so obviously then they wouldn't have had a good relationship after that anyway as like cops, because of the fact that he cheated on like the daughter. So that would have been very interesting to get into, but obviously Paul's dead, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. Next one, so I've got one whole thing left, but then I've already done this, so I don't need that. Oh yeah, I think I've finished actually. I think I've said everything. Have I? I think so. Yeah, because I already talked about the mum and the dad, right? Yeah. But I freaking love this movie. I love the fact that Alex was technically the one to solve it, you know what I mean? Because he essentially got the like the way he like snapped. I don't know if it was a twig. I think it was a twig, right? The thing that she was like snapping. I think it was a twig, but I could be wrong. But like the way she was doing it was so interesting. Like the fact that he, you know, got her hair and just like snapped it, and she knew straight away that these kids were all gonna kill her. You know, she ran straight out of the house, which was so interesting. Like the camera for the scenes where she was just running around the house, and then the camera that was like strapped to the kid, you know, that was following her, that was so freaking interesting. Like I just absolutely love that scene. Sorry, the the thing just like died, you know. But anyway, yeah, the fact that just did that, it was so insane. I can't even lie. Like the way, oh, it was just so fun. Like I loved it. Kind of felt like a roller coaster ride, you know, the fact that we were just like following this kid whilst she was following the lady, because the lady was like walking in and out of like the houses, right? Like the first time she did it, it was interesting because like I knew that the kids were gonna probably just run straight through the house, which they did, completely scaring all the people. But then the one of the last times was like with the girl, right? I wonder if they strapped like the camera to the girl's back, right? Because the way they were following her, it just felt like she was attached to, like, it was the camera may have been attached like through like a thing that she was wearing around her waist or something, you know. It'd be very interesting if that was the case, but it felt like we were just following this girl, right? The way she went through the door window, she went through like so many different windows just to get to her, and then she finally tackled her on the grass. Oh my god, it was so freaking good. Like the whole of that, like everything, like the filming in this was honestly amazing. Like so many different filming technique things that they did, so many different, oh, it was just so cool, bruh. Like I don't know a lot about filming techniques and all that stuff. I did photography in school, but I didn't do anything about like video things really. So, you know, I'm not really the video type of person, but like I freaking love taking pictures, and just the overall like look of this movie was amazing. Like the overall everything about this, you know, I just love the story, I love everything. I hope there are more things that would be like this. And I think, I forgot who it is, but I think it was Jordan Peele, but he wanted this movie, like he wanted the script and he didn't get it, and he was annoyed by his like whole team because he wanted this movie and he didn't get it. That's so interesting to me, because it's like, you know, you would expect somebody who is that big to have been able to get something like that really easily, right? Or like, I mean, I don't know, I think it said as well that he had like fired his management or something because, you know, they were the ones that should have got him it, and then they didn't get the script for him essentially, which is so interesting. Like, as I say, I would have just absolutely loved to have seen his approach to this as well. Like, it would be very interesting to have like two different movies, but I do love whoever the person is that actually worked on this. Like, I would be very interested to see how somebody else would come up with something for this script, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm definitely going to be watching more like behind the scenes things, and maybe more, you know, like more interviewing things for this movie, because I've already seen that Josh Brolin and Julia, the blonde haired girl anyway, she was also in Fantastic Four. But yeah, it's very interesting. I've already seen that they've had like some kind of interviews, so it'll be very interesting to see if the whole cast got to be in different things. I also wonder, so what I've been thinking was, I was trying to work out if the hair that James has, the hair that Austin has, I wonder if it's like not real, or if he really had to grow his hair out that long for this role, because he was also in that other movie, I forgot, who was it Brad Pitt and somebody else? I forgot who it was. But like, there were two guys in the movie, and then he was there, and he was like, in the trailer, he like jumps over a car or something, and he's still like, I think he's like tied behind his back or something. But they're like, they end up teaming up, you know, the three of them and stuff. But I never watched that movie. I forgot what it was, but yeah, I think it was definitely Brad Pitt, right? But I don't remember who the other person was. I think it was two guys though, but I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, I think that was him, right? I think he was in that as well, but he looked so different. Like in this movie, my mum couldn't even recognize this guy. Like, it was so funny. But yeah, she also, my mum's favorite character was Alex. She really liked just, I guess, his the way he was just staying strong and stuff, even though his parents were technically just gone. Like the hug that he gives his parents, you know, when you can tell that the parents are not coming back, you can tell that they're not okay. The fact that he's just hugging them when everything's over, you know, after they just tried to kill him. Crazy. But yeah, I'm happy that they never actually got to him, and that he actually was able to keep running away. But yeah, originally I thought that the lady as well, I thought she'd have ran away, you know, the auntie. I don't know if she was the auntie or the great auntie, but anyway, the way she like was in the bottom, like in the basement, and she obviously had like, she grabbed like his hair, right? I think she cut his hair off, and that's how she will have got him to almost kill Mrs. Gandhi. And then as soon as he like wakes up from that, he doesn't go and help her, you know, he doesn't go and say if she's okay after all that. He just like goes and tries to find his son, which is so funny to me. I was just like, why did you not even say sorry? But I guess maybe he didn't even think about what he just did. I don't know. Oh my god, this is so long, this video. That's crazy. Anyway, this was such a good freaking movie. Like, it's probably my favorite movie, like, of maybe even of this year. Like, it's, for me, it's better than Sinners. It's better than like all the other movies that people have loved this year, to be honest. Like, I can't lie. Like, Sinners was so good as well. Sinners may be the second best still, but like, oh y'all, this one is definitely the best for me. Like, Weapons, oh my god, I just know nothing else this year is gonna beat this. You know, there's nothing else that could. I swear. I swear. But yeah, freaking amazing, y'all. I love this movie. This is such bad lighting, bro. Hopefully people watch this anyway. No. Anyway, goodbye.
That was a lot of like nonsense.
Can't be kidding.